Hello, 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 and welcome back, guys. So, in this particular session, what we'll be doing is, of course, we will be doing some programming. Right. So, what happened to this thing? Okay, so we need to find the smallest number among the two, right? Okay, to find the number that is the smallest between the two, what we can do is uh, so we will be given two different numbers, right? So we can either use the max function, right? Num1 and num2, or what we can do is we could, you see, if we just run this thing, right? So it should work just fine. Okay, what is it? Return any number if both number are equal. Okay. Return the smallest number. Okay, we need to find the minimum, not the max. Okay, to do that, what we can do is just use the minimum function. That is one way to do it. Okay, there is another way to do it as well without using the function. Right, so num1, if num1 is less than num2, else what do we do? Else num2. Yeah, right. So there is this way as well. This depends how you want to do it. Okay, so this is more like a DSA kind of thing, right? Okay, so when I just submit it, it should be just fine. I guess other people's solutions should be something similar. It should not uh, be way off than ours. Okay, so minimum, that's what other people have used. Okay, so that's how we can solve this particular problem. Right, so let's move on to next problem. Moving on to the next problem, we need to check if a string is sponge case or not, right? So in order to do that, what we can do is, so what does sponge case mean? First of all, let's figure that thing out first. It just means that we need to uh, make the alternate string as a uppercase, right? Right. So okay, great. So in order to do that, what we can do is we can, of course, loop over it. That's one way to do it. Other way that we can do is uh, 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 what about if there is a space in between, right? We might have to check for that as well. But ignoring that, so let's just do the simple way because it's not hard that way, right? So uh, uh, can we use len function and then changing it? Let's just create a new string, right? Equals to blank, and then basically uh, 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 of course we will need the thing length of s minus 1 maybe, and we need to keep it inside the range to get the number. All right, so because the length of any character will be zero based when we are running inside this loop, so we need to do -1 over here. Next thing that we need to do is we need to check, right, if I is divisible, perfectly divisible by 2 or not. So if it is perfectly divisible by 2, so what will be the case in the first one, right? So let's just do one thing. Let's just use our playground. What I want to check is 0 will be 0 in that case, right? And 1 will be, of course, it will be 1, right? In this case, what we can do is perhaps I equals to s I dot upper. I don't think this will work, but let's see. Return s. I'm pretty sure this won't work, huh? Because there is a compilation error. Okay, syntax error. Why did it say that? Does not support item assignment. Yes, because it's a immutable, right? So of course we will need new s. New string equals to blank. We simply need to do new string, and then if it is just as it is, right, we can simply do new s plus equals to s I, right? Whatever the value comes in, we don't transform it into upper, and then we just run it. Maybe it might work, or it might not, or it will be the opposite, right? So what it wants is it's doing for the next one, right? So why did that happen? Let's see. Our condition over here failed. Because why did it failed? Right, we have our playground ready now. 0 divided by 0 modulo 2 is, what is it? Let's just zoom it. We run it. Right, it's executed successfully, but since I'm not using a print statement, that's why it's run, not giving any output. Okay, as you see, it's giving 0, right? So the first condition was satisfied, right, in this case. And then what happened? So first case was satisfied, expected true. Okay, so what it wants was, what is it, alternates, so it can this, so it should be true. Why is it? Hmm, okay, between the response case, otherwise false. Okay, so we don't need to transform it. That's my bad, huh? I should have interpreted it differently. In order to do that, what we can do is, of course, we can simply check it. Okay, so we can check if that number, or the number that's perfectly divisible by 2, is upper or not, right? So maybe mm, let's do something. Let's do this, right? Let's check how many functions are there in string. Right, upper will transform it, others is is alpha, is ASCII, right? Maybe is lower, there should be is upper, I guess. Yes, is upper. Yeah, right. So it should be that, it should be that. Uh, we simply need to check it, right? So we don't need to worry about this thing. We don't need the new string, right? Another thing is, so since it is perfectly divisible by 2, and then what happens? And it should be upper as well, right? So, and upper. So s I dot upper, right? So, but we want to check it for everything, na? For every element of it. So it might be easier just to make it into a list and then check like that, or what is it? Because we can't do a return directly over here, right? Because we can't do return directly over here. Because we will need to check for every other case. Okay, so maybe what we can do is maybe a list over here, right? And then it should be uh, so if it is not offer, we can simply return that, right? But okay, maybe yeah, we can do something like true over here, right? And then if it is upper or not upper, right? If it is perfectly divisible by this, and then what else? Then we need to check if this thing is upper. If not upper, could have done it like that over here itself, right? Then we simply return false. Don't need the list or anything else. Same thing over here. Control delete. Okay, now let's just run it. Why did this test case fail? Expected false. Okay, in the first one result was true. Why is that? Okay, had to check for everything, nah. That's why. Maybe can we simply do for the whole string as well? Is it? It should not be that difficult, man, maybe, because its difficult level is easy, right? So so it should not be that hard. It should not be that hard. So to solve this, what we can do is, let's just do it again. Let's transform it into a list first of all, and then what we do is, let's just make this thing into a list s, right? And then for I in lst, right? So maybe just enumerate over it. enumerate will give us the index and the value, right? So over s, and then what we need to do is k comma v. Key is, so if a percentage 2 equals to, if it is perfectly divisible by 2, that means it has to be a upper thing, right? So it will have to be upper. Okay, it will have to be upper, and then we can simply return it directly. Wait a minute. So before doing this, right, before doing this, what did I do? Did I not use, okay, the only condition that I'm missing over here is, in my opinion, else, right? So else, if it is not upper, then we return false, otherwise we simply return true, but that is also not going to cut it. Shit. Don't need the history. Where did it go? Where did it go? I was thinking of making it into a list and then doing it. Perhaps maybe we might find that problem. Huh? Let's just skip it. I've already done this problem. Okay, just adding two numbers. What is this? So a function that adds two numbers and appends the result. So what is it? So for this input, right? So we have 2 and 3. So when we add it, we get a number and then we simply append it. Okay, great, not a big deal. Let's do the return directly. So what we can do is, let's make a string, right? Dot join. We know the join function. Number one. All right. Join. It should be, in my opinion, it can take any data type, I guess. Dot join, string dot join. Let's ask our playground. Dot join. Is there any join over here? Dot join. Maybe let's just run this thing. Maybe not dir, but help. Maybe something like that. Join takes one argument. Okay, blah blah blah. Okay, great. Maybe let's just try that. If this thing works, it's fine. Can only join an iterable. Okay, great. Maybe 1 comma 2. Let's see. Maybe just join only, right? Just the join function itself. str, right? Let's do Python as well. I'm pretty sure join function, it takes like iterable, that's for sure, but can't we simply do number 2 and then the other one is number 1 plus number 2, right? If it takes int, let's see. Okay, compilation error, that just means that it's complaining about something. Let's see the join method, what it takes. Blah blah blah, it's a iterable, right? So this is a tuple. It takes an iterable and then joins them into a string. Okay, great. So basically it will need us iterable. Iterable. So to do that, what we can do is, let's make this into a iterable. So maybe something, a variable temp equals to, right? So in that, inside that, what we can do is, let's just add this thing, all right, and then let's just do temp. So since this is a iterable, right, that can be iterated over. Now why is that? Why are you complaining? Why are you complaining? Let's put it in our playground. Let's see. Okay, we need to provide add numbers, maybe 1 comma 2. Let's run it. Of course, we will need the print. String expected. Okay, great, great, great. The data type should be string, huh? str, something like this, str. So data type should be a string. Okay, so str, let's add it first and then make it into a string. Right, let's run it. Now what is it? 0, 0, 0 is 0, right? So how do we skip it? Can handle that edge case. So maybe, so since there is a edge case over here, right? So 0, 0, 0, we don't want it to be 0, z. What your result is 3 zeros. It just expected 0. Okay. So, but that is also a number. I'm not sure if this test case is good, but still, like, we have to handle for it. So if number 2 equals to 0, right? So copy this thing, check for this particular condition as well. Then we do return 0. That's it. This should work. Just handling for that particular test case only. What happened? Equals to. Okay, we need double equals to, of course, to check for any condition. All right, it should work. Let's submit the code. Should not have been this difficult. I'm pretty sure there is a easier way to do it. Let's see how other people have done it. What the hell is this? Okay, good idea. This is a very neat solution. That's the best solution that I see. Right. Okay, this guy has done some F string kind of thing. I use join. Right. So other people have done something similar. Okay. So this could have been made smaller, right? So it could be resolved in this one liner. Okay. So what it is doing is it's basically turning it into a string, the first two different numbers. The third number is just adding it up and then it's making it into a string and then just doing an int out of it. Okay. This is a very good, elegant solution. I like it. Okay, let's do another problem. So we need to distribute food equally among people. Okay, so two, the result should be two. Why is that? So there are 4 foods and 2 people. So each people get 2 food items. Why is that? How did it know 4 divided by 2? That's it. Just average. I'm not sure if there is a built-in function for average in Python. Huh? We can simply do, of course, a return food items. All right. Of course, we will need to do length. So whatever the length of the food item is, of course, we simply do by the people. right? So that will give us a result. It might be, of course, it won't be in decimal, that's for sure, but we could convert it into an int, but that's fine. I think it should work. Okay, great. It seems like it's passed all the test cases. So let's see our solution as well. It has to be something similar, right? It can't be like some people might have done count if they are very beginner. I like this solution. Why is that? Because it's using a floor division. That's basically like doing int, converting it into an int because you don't want the decimal places. Yeah, I like the thing, decimal places, this thing, floor division a lot. I like that a lot. Okay, so that's how we can solve this particular problem. Let's move on to another problem. Okay, we need to transcribe a DNA sequence into mRNA sequence. Okay, so it says it's easy, but let's see. You should replace each nucleotide in DNA sequence with its corresponding mRNA nucleotide. Okay, what is all this? Okay, A should be transcribed to U, T to A, C to Z, Z to C. Okay, A T C Z should be okay. So we simply find, what do we do is, so of course we will be given always this thing, nucleotide. Maybe let's just call this formula. Why am I doing it in all caps? Because that's the convention and I want to stick to it. All right. So what we can do is A should transcribe to EU. Great. Let me just turn on my caps. T should transcribe to A, and C should transcribe to what? Z, and G should transcribe to C. Right, great. So what we can do is we might need to create another string variable, though, temporary string variable. Temporary variable. Why did I do that? Because we need to create another string. Na? Or should we simply result? Okay, we need to give out a string. Okay. So we will need to transform it and then give it out because we can't do it in existing string, right? Because strings are non-immutable. That's why I can't do DNA and then bracket and then change that value, right? Because they are immutable. So I will need a temporary uh, DNA or string, whatever, right? Then what I can do is, I can use a dictionary, because why did I make it into a dictionary is I can use the get functionality of it. All right, so temp string, I will need to loop over it. I will need to loop over it. All right. For I in DNA, all right, what I can do next is temp string plus equals to formula dot get I. Right, of course, suppose in the DNA we get this string, so the first character is A, right? So in the first sequence what happens is it will try to get the value of A, and if it gets it, it will basically assign it to temporary string, right? Otherwise, what do you do? If it can't get it, I will simply assign the same value. Okay, I could have added 0 or whatever, right? But it does not matter. Okay, so that's a transformed string, right? And then what I can do is, lastly, I can simply return that temporary string. Okay, let's see. Okay, it basically works just fine, right? So was there anything G C A U? So U was not there, so it's got U. Why? Because we used the I, right? Because what happens is in the get functionality, so whenever you use a get functionality, right? So if I simply copy this and then paste it here, right? And then simply call that function and I do something like 0 over here, okay? So if the values may not be there, right? So if I do ABC, right, it will simply return 0, 0, 0, okay, in this situation. Okay, I have to make it into a string, of course. Let's run it. Okay, let's give it another string. It has to be, let's say, has. It's not taking an int, of course, right? If I run it now, what happens? It should work fine. Of course, we will need the print since it's a CLI thing, right? So you see, it's giving us hash, 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 right? So if I had A like this, so I know there is a or G, something like that. So A would have transformed into U and other characters would be hash, hash, okay? So that's what the get method does. Okay, this one over here, that's fine. This solution seems fine, but it can be optimized even further, right? So how can we optimize it? Of course, these are hard-coded values that we will be given, right? So we just use dictionary data structure to store it. And then of course we will need to loop over every DNA, right? Okay, let's submit it. That's fine. Let's see other people's solution. I'm pretty sure there will be some elegant one. So when I check the solution, right, some other people have done basically same thing, right? Just a temporary string and then doing it. Okay, let's see this solution. Okay, make trans. Okay, that's interesting. We will look at this particular functionality, right? Let's look at that as well. This guy is doing something similar, just the one that I did. Similar, I was thinking this in my head. Okay, I was thinking about this in my head. But I'm not sure. I think there should be a key error in this, isn't it? Suppose if I copy that thing, right, this guy's solution, and then if I paste it here, right, so if the key is not found, right, there should be an error, I guess. Okay, I'll just use my local terminal to do this. Okay, if I just copy that, right, so I will simply use this, call this function now. You see B, so there will be a key error. I don't know why it passed over here. This is not a good solution in my opinion, because what happens is, you see, so whenever you are passing it like that, right, so you are saying like in this function you're giving a, that's fine. If you're giving b, it's not over here, right? So it will give key error, that's it, right? That's a basic functionality of a dictionary, right? So if it were to be, so even if you were to say like ATC, right? So in this case, it works just fine. Okay, it works just fine. In this case, when there are keys that exist, it's fine. But what happens if the key does not exist, right? So in that situation, it will cause a key error. Okay, so this is not a good solution, in my opinion. What happened to my Wi-Fi? Okay, it's working fine. Okay, what about this guy doing something similar? What about the test case? Like, what about the test case? Is it like, is it always giving out the same, the characters that exist only? What about like other characters like B or something like that? Okay, translate, make trans. Okay, I want to see this particular functionality. Okay, so make trans Python. Okay, I think I am back now. Okay, so there is a thing, make trans. So it will basically translate, will, what will it do? It will create a mapping table and then use it in translate method. Okay, great. So we will, it has to be used together with translate kind of thing. Okay, it's like similar map kind of functionality. That's what it's doing. Okay, so it's a little bit complicated in my opinion. For easy problems, it's not required, but yeah, that's fine. Okay, so that's how we solve this particular problem. Let's skip to other problem. All right, full name, what is it? We need to concatenate. That's it. All right, we simply use plus sign. The operator overloading of Python should do the job. What happened? Okay, space. In this situation, F string is better, in my opinion. In such situation, F string is always the method to go with. All right, and then let's just add a space in the middle. Let's run it. Great, let's submit it. Other people's solution, in my opinion, will be the plus and a space in the middle or F string or F string. Okay, looks something similar as I told you. It's the plus one. Okay, okay. Yeah, yeah. Right. Okay. We have done this problem. Let's move on. It's a very easy problem. Okay, what is it? We need to check if a given key exists in a dictionary or not. Okay, that's fine. It should return true, if it exists. Okay, so let's just do return. I think this should work just fine, in my opinion. So return key in dictionary 1. It will check if it exists or not and then basically just return it. In operator should work in dictionary as well. All right, yeah, as I told you, it works just fine. All right, Let's submit the code. Let's see other people's solution. It should be something similar, yes, right? Some people are looping over it. This is not required, in my opinion. Just the in keyword is fine. But hey, if you are a beginner, this is also perfectly fine to do it that way. Slowly can move on to this, but that's fine. Initially, what I was thinking was maybe something like get or whatever, right? I was thinking something in those line, but there is a in operator, right? It works differently in different context, right? In a string, what does it do? It basically checks like if that particular character exists in a string or not. In case of a dictionary, it checks for the keys in the dictionary or not. So if we had to check for any values, we could have done just a dictionary dot values. This would give out a list, and we can always use in a list as well, right? Okay, let's move on to another problem. Okay, so we need to generate the nth number in the Fibonacci sequence. Okay, great. So what's a Fibonacci sequence? So it's like Fibonacci sequence. Instead of starting with two numbers, it starts with three numbers. So each number after the three is the sum of three numbers before it. Okay, 0, 1, 1 is basically 2, and then 1, 2, 1, 1, 2 should be 4. Okay, and 4, 6, 1 is 7. Okay, 7, 4 is 11, plus 2 is 13. Great. This is 13 plus 7, uh, and then this is 20, 4 is 24, and so on. Okay, great. So for this input 6, results should be 13. Why is that? Why is that? Why is that? Let's see. For the input 6, the sixth number in the Fibonacci sequence is 13. Okay, we just need to find the index of it now. So do we need to dynamically generate this Fibonacci sequence, or will it be already given? That's the question, right? Let's see. So we could, I'm pretty sure it's not asking for us to uh, make that sequence. So maybe our sequence equals to, right? So this is cheating kind of thing as well. Uh, but is it? Because this will be constant always, right? Given whatever. Right. So if we were to access sixth element, it has to be 13. That means 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, great. So if it's a constant, we could simply do return seq sequence the n value, right? But I'm not sure if they want us to dynamically generate this or not. That's my only question. Let's run it. What happened? Why is it not working? What's wrong? What's wrong? What's wrong? Let's just do that. Let's do minus. It's a little bit harder. Huh? Let's start of index. Okay. Okay. So we will need to do it. It seems like, huh? So in order to do that, what can we do? Of course, we will need to create this sequence. will be an empty list, of course. So we will be given the input value range n, right? So 6 will be given to us. That means we will need to do +1, I guess, because we want to loop that many times in it, right? Because 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we will need +1, that's for sure. And in order to do this, maybe could do something like this to save a little bit of time. Right, it will have to be this. This should be constant, right? And we can simply do n could be 0, 1, 2. 2 comma n plus 1. Okay, could do it like this, or we could dynamically generate it, but we will need to do a lot of if condition should be there, right? So if it is 0, we simply add 0 to it. If it is 1, we add 1 to it. If it is 2, we add 1 to it. All right, so after this, what we can do is, so suppose if the number n is 3, right? So suppose if it is 3, what happens? So it will be 3, and then, so we don't need this +1 in that situation. So suppose if it is 3, what should we do? Of course, we will need the +1 again, because we will need to increase it. Okay, it should be +1 over here, not outside. Okay, and it will loop over one time, and it will start directly at 3. So since it is not in the list, right, we will need to create it. Sequence dot append what? Sum of whatever the list is, right? Sum of whatever the list is. Fibonacci sequence, right? So if it is 4, let's say if it is 4, right? So 0, 1, 2 is there, and then it comes over here 3, and then it's I mean, if it is 3, 4 as well, that's fine. So if it is 4, right, so it will be 3 to 5. So it will go over here. It will append what? It will append, basically, it will append. So when it is running in the first loop, right, so when it is running in the first loop, it will first of all append 0, 1, 1. So that the sum will be 2 in that situation, right? So it will append 2 to the list. Next loop, it's coming at 4, right? So we are at the fourth loop. So in that situation, what happens? So since we have 4, and we will be appending the sum to it, so it will be adding what? So 0, 1, 2, and 3. I mean, 2, right? So we don't want to do that, because why is that? We only want the previous 3 numbers only, right? We only want to do the sum for previous 3 numbers only. So in order to do that, what we can do is, we can simply do I minus, so the I will be 4 in this situation. So that means 0, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, right? So 4 minus what? 1, 2, 3 minus 3. Let's see. Okay, there will be a error over there, compilation error, of course, because the sequence is not defined, right? Let's see. Okay, what's the issue? Object is not iterable, int object. Who said it's a int? Line number 4. It's a Fibonacci, right? I minus 3. Uh, it's a sequence. Up to 3. Up to, so whatever, okay, maybe something like this. Something like this, right? So that will give out the last 3 values and then we sum it, all right? Since it's a sequence, right? Okay, so at least we've got something over here, all right? So 7 is the input, our result was 2, expected 24. Okay, great, let's go with something similar, something smaller. Okay, 6, right? So let's focus on the 6 first. So 6, 6 should have returned thing. Okay, let's look at it. Of course, we could always print out and see. Let's see if our sequence is working or not. Let's see this particular thing. Okay, it's not doing the adding properly. It should have been 2 over here. It's not doing that. Why is it not doing that? So 0, 1, 2, and 3. We are starting at 3, and then it's taking a sum of what? Sum of minus 3. So it will be all this thing. Minus 3. Why is it not working? That's my question. Print. Why is it not working? Some of this should have been fine in my opinion, because that should give us what? 2 should have been 2. Why is it 0? Why is it 0? That's my question. What am I appending? Appending some of it. All right, why is that not working? Minus 3, minus 3, minus 3. Oh, I'm starting to forget slicing itself. Let's do this. Let's copy this, paste it here. Right. Let's do this. Copy it, paste it here. It's not being copied, huh? Copy, paste. Let's run it. Okay, unexpected indent. Where? Okay, let's run it now. Ah, it's not that I want the -3 only, nah. I want the whole thing, isn't it? I mean, this will also give out that it's not iterable. Int object is not iterable. Okay. Let's go list. Where is the list? Python list. Let's go slicing. So that is start, end, right? So it will be starting at -1, ending at -3, isn't it? Something like that. Step is just one, isn't it? Should have been something like this. What the hell? Why is this thing not working? Should work just fine. That's fine. Yeah, that's what I wanted. Basically, -3. Okay, -3 is not there. Should work. Okay. -2 perhaps. -3, yeah. -3. That's how it should be. Okay, so since I'm doing it from reverse, it starts at what? It starts at one index now, that's why. And then the slicing thing is also I have to do -3 over here in the beginning. Right. Something like this. Yes, now it works just fine. Right. So it was just a silly mistake. Seems like it's time to call it a night. So that's how I solved it. Basically, what I did was I had pre-filled the index for 0, 1, 2 because I did not want to add if statement over here, and I started the range directly from 3, and then I wanted to loop over whatever the number they gave until over there, right? So this is not included in our list, in our loop in the beginning. So I made it inclusive of that, because by adding 1 we loop over. Suppose if this was 4, it would have been, it would not loop at 4 as fourth element, right? So in order to do that, we need to add +1. Then when we are looping over it, we simply check the previous 3 element inside the list, and then we sum it, and then we simply add it at the back, start adding at the back. Okay, and in the return, what did I do after we've created our list, right? So based on the Fibonacci sequence, I simply access the element that they are asking for, nth element, and then simply returned it. Okay, so let's submit the code. Could be done in a list iteration kind of thing as well, but that's fine. I mean, not so readable though. List comprehension. I'm not sure if it can be done like that. Huh? What did this guy do? Okay, something similar. Huh? very similar, starting from 3 and then basically doing n plus 1 and then basically ABC, similar to Fibonacci kind of thing. Okay, so if it is 4, what will happen over here? So B will be A, of course, right? And then this thing will be B, and then A, this will be A plus B plus C. Okay, great, great. This is also a very good solution, in my opinion. Very good solution. Smart. What about this? So it's doing compre thing, uh, recursion. Okay. So n minus 1, n minus 2, n minus 3. Right. Many of them must be doing recursion in this case. Yeah, a recursion. Yeah, this guy is doing something similar, right? Okay, multiple ways to solve it. I did it like this. That's what I found easy while doing it, but recursion is a good way to solve this kind of problem. So always, like in case of Fibonacci and all, we always need to define the base case, right? So base case like this. So if it is 0, uh, it will be 0, and if it is less than 2, so 0, 1, 2 is basically 1 only, and everything else. So suppose if the number was 3, right? So how does this work is, so 3 will be over here, then it will come inside this. So everything will be ignored. So we have a 3 over here, right? So 3 minus 1 is what? 2, right? So it will go inside the same function again, and 3 minus 2 is 2, right? So it will equal over here, it will give out 1, of course, right? So starting from over here, and then it will come over here. 3 minus 2 is 3 minus 2 is 1, right? So it will go inside, it will meet this condition, it will return out 1. So it's going backward like this. Okay, so 1 is found, another 1 is found. Next will be n minus 3, of course. So 3 minus 3 is 0, it will go inside the loop, and then if n equals to 0, right, so it will be 0. So it found the 0, so it just adds up everything, right? And then the third element will be, what will it be? The sum of these three, it will be 2. Okay, so similarly, if it were to be 4, what would have happened is, basically it would have gone inside. 4 minus 1 is 3, then it would again go inside it, right? So 3 would come inside, 3 would come inside, and 3 would not satisfy that condition, so it would simply add all this thing. So everything from here, right? So if this was 4, minus 2 will be 2, it will go inside, it will simply add that. Okay, so it's better to visualize this in Python visualization. Visualizer. So you'll find something like this, Python visualizer. Right. So in that you can paste the code and then visualize it properly. Okay. As you see, what you can do is copy this thing, paste it over there, right? And then do something like Fibonacci and then 3, right? Visualize execution, right? So now we are over here. Now we go inside, we call the function, it's n is 3 now, Now you see what happens is it's keeping all that, it's moving over here now, right? It's moving over here inside this return. Now what happens when we do next? So it's doing it for the first statement, right? So as I said, it will be 2. Then what happens? It comes to the 2 condition over there. That condition is satisfied. Returns 1, right? Next thing it will make is n will be 1 again now, right? So what happens? This function returned 1. This function, it will go inside it. So it's 3 minus 1, right? So it will return 1 again, right? And then now n is 0. It will go inside. It returns 0, right? So the return value will be 2 because 1 plus 1 is 2, right? Next, now we are out of there, right? So let's edit the code one more time. I want to check for 4. Okay, let's do visualize. Now what happens? So this will be interesting over here. So it will go inside the function first, and then it will skip everything, move to the else directly. Okay, so currently it's 4. It will come over here. 4 minus 1 is 3, and then it will go inside, right? It will come over here again. Currently it is what? It's 4 minus 1 is 3. Now what will happen? Look over here. The n will be 2. Okay, n will be true. It's going over the same function, but n will be 2. Okay, so if it is equals to 2, it will return 1. So we started from where? 4. Is it coming now? Should be all right, I guess. Should be all right, I guess. अभी आ रहा है ना? Okay, maybe it's earlier it was something else, huh? Now I think it's working fine, the sound. Okay, so let's go back. Let's go back. So you see now we are starting, right? So 4 is there. Now what happens? We will be calling the same function, right? So 4 minus 1 will be 3, right? So our n will be, we will be calling the function 3, and then even in that case what happens? It simply will go inside it again because the condition over here is not satisfied, right? So it will go inside, and then the n is now 2 for this particular plus sign only, right? So what will happen? It will return 1 over here. Okay, so that will return 1, right? And when we go inside again, what happened now? The n is 1. Why is that? Because 3 minus 2, we are over here, right? So 3 minus 2 is 1, right? So it will return 1 again, right? For the next condition over here, it's what? It is n minus 3, so hence it is 0, right? So it will go inside over here, and then the base condition gets satisfied. As you see, now it will return 0. Okay, then what's our sum? Our sum is 2. Why is that? This returned, the base case returned 1 1 0. Okay, great. Now we will come back to this function return what? When we called 3, it returned this value 2. Okay, so 4, it came over here. 4 minus 1 was 3. So we were just doing for this particular one only until now. Okay, even though we looped over it multiple times, right? We looped over it 3 times, the same function. We are over here. Now we will need to check for another condition, right? So now if you see, the n will change to 2. I mean 3 minus 1, 1. It will change to 1. Okay. So as you see, oh, I mean, sorry. That's my bad. It will change to 2 because we are at 4 in the starting, right? In the starting, we are at 4, right? So what happened? We returned 2, and then this thing will return now what? 1. Yep. And then what about this one? 4 minus 3 will be 1. It will go inside. It will return 1 again, right? It will simply satisfy that condition. It will return 1. So this returned 2, this returned 1, this returned 1. Adding it up, it returns 4. Okay. So that's a little bit complicated. This way is a little bit easier, right? So basically what happens is it will always go backwards. Okay, it will always go backwards. So you remember it returned 4, but it calculates 2 first, then it calculates 1, then it calculates 1. Okay, that's how it basically is working. It's fine not to understand that, not to be able to understand it at the moment. It's not a big deal, right? We can always do it without recursion, or like just getting a head around it. It's a little bit complicated. The problem that I showed, like a recursion can be very easy, right? But always think like it starts from backwards in this kind of situation. Okay, it's always starting from the base scenario. Like just think like it will uh, loop over itself multiple times, right? It will loop over itself multiple times until the base condition is satisfied, and that is the one that is returned. Okay, that's the most important thing in it. Just look at that. There will always be a base condition. So if there was no n equals to 0 return 0, then it would never work. It will always be in an infinite loop kind of situation. Okay, so that's how we basically solve this problem, right? Let's move on to next problem. So in this problem, what do we have? So write a function to find the index of a given element in a list. This is easy. We have a function. If you know list properly, right? So lst dot index, not find index, it's index only, and n. Okay, so whatever the value that we want to look at, we simply put it inside the index. So this, let's see, I will show it to you as well. Right, let's do clear over here, and let's do help. Let's do help list. Right, we want to search for what? Index, right? Okay, index, right? You see it returns first index of a value. Okay, so raises value error if the value is not found inside the list, of course, right? So it will give us the index of it. Okay, so in order to do that, what we can do is we can simply do it like this: list.index n. When we run the code, should work just fine, right? Let's just submit it. Okay, so it's just knowing all these methods that exist within them. So of course we can always have a look at the methods that exist, right? So we can always do dir. So dir list will list out all the methods that's available to us. And if we want to look at the help of it, right, so we can always do help list. That will give us the detailed help kind of documentation for this. And if you want to get out of it, just press the Q button. Okay. So this is also done. What did I submit it? Did I submit it? Okay, other people have done something very similar. Okay, so that's how we can solve this kind of problem. So that's it for today, I guess. The mic was not working earlier. There was some internet issue as well. So maybe like you guys maybe have understood something, I guess. It's very easy Python, huh? In my opinion. It's very, very easy. Very readable language though. Thanks for watching, everyone. Thank you for your time. I think it's time to close it unless someone has anything that they want to ask or whatever. Okay, let's do this much for today. Take care. Bye bye. Thank you.